Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Saturday Show. You see my topic tonight. We're going to have a really good discussion tonight. I hope you all are able to take part in it. I want to get some bills paid. There's some new bills to get paid here, but followed by some more traditional ones. So I want you to hit that subscribe button. We are up to 432, which means we have 68 to go before we hit that magical number of 500. So remember to hit that subscribe button. Subscribing is literally free, does not cost you a thing to subscribe. I'd appreciate it very, very much. So hit that, smash that, obliterate, destroy that subscribe button. Support me on Patreon. Patreon support is very vital to what this channel is doing. And that is because you don't see that little duck anymore. And that's because I have so many interviews coming up that I had to pay to get that removed. So that's not cheap. So I'm going to need you all to step in and make that contribution of $2 per month. That allows me to, one, pay for the StreamYard hosting, to get some better lighting, all those kind of things. And yes, I realize I have something on my shoulder because it's very cold in here. Um, you can also support my personal um, GoFundMe a campaign. I am trying to raise money to take care of some personal expenses that all of a sudden just popped out of nowhere. I'm trying to raise $2,500. So far, I was able to raise 800, so I greatly appreciate that. Any size contribution you can give is much, 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 much appreciated. Here is a new one for you all today. You can follow the Tracy Media fan page on Facebook. I haven't posted this, it's in the description section, but I normally don't highlight it. And I want people to go over there because we've been at 77 followers we've been at that number ever since I started that page about 3 years ago. So, would appreciate you following me on Facebook. And here's the last one. We are now back on Twitch. That's right. So if you are on Twitch, you can watch us live now. Um, so follow us on our Twitch page. Again, you can always follow us live on there. Of course, you know about the Drama Academy, which I'm not going to highlight today. I might do that at the end, but let's get started. So, no interviews today, which is kind of unusual because I've been used to doing so many interviews that it's like, oh, okay, I got an interview today. I got an interview today. I got an interview today. So, that's good, bad, but I wanted to talk about um the differences and I the differences between the Democratic Socialist Party of America and the Green Party of the United States. And there's a lot of similarities, right? But there's a lot of things that are different about each group. Um, First major thing you know want to know is I don't believe that DSA is a party. I'm going to double check that. I am correct. The Democratic Socialists of America, or DSA, is not a political party. It is political and it's a political activist organization. It doesn't have its own ballot line. It doesn't run its own candidates. In other words, when you're running as a DSA candidate, you're basically running as a Democrat. Um, that's pretty much. Um, they also didn't know realize this. Members can join the DSA while remaining registered members of other parties, such as primarily the Democratic Party. So in retrospect, or in summary, you could be a member of the Green Party and be a member of DSA. You could be DSA and Republican. You could be DSA and Constitutional Party, DSA and Libertarian Party, because again, they are not a party. So, a little bit of history, and like I said, I'll mostly talk about the DSA first because I don't know as much about them as I do the Green Party. I was active in the Green Party. I was former chair of the Green Party, so I know more about it. So I went to their website, DSAUSA.org, their about us section, and it says that the Democratic Socialists of America, DSA, is the largest socialist organization in the United States. DSA members are building progressive movements for social change while establishing an openly democratic socialist presence in American community and politics. At the root of our socialism is a profound commitment to democracy as means and end. And we are unlikely to see an as we are unlikely to see an immediate end of capitalism tomorrow. DSA fights for reforms today that will weaken the power of corporations and increase the power of working people. For example, they support decreasing the influence of money in politics, empowering ordinary people in the workplace and the economy, restructuring gender and cultural relationships to be more equitable. I can never say that right. Um, they do have a fee for joining. Um, I'm trying to see. I'm trying to get to it. I'm going to get to it here in just a moment. Oh, they also got a join us button there at the top. Let's see what their membership fees are. So they are a dues paying, dues um, organization, which means you have to pay dues to be considered a member. Um, you can be a sponsor for, well, they have the low income, $5 a month. Then they have introductory, $10 a month. Then they have standard, which is $15 a month. Then they have a sponsor, which is $25 a month. And then they have a sustainer, which is $50 a month. Now they don't tell like the difference between the two. Um, But when you go to their page, you can, if you can't afford it, you can um um choose it to be based off of your income. So we're not gonna join the DSA, but I'm gonna um select that one. And that one is you can contribute 1% of your monthly income, 2% or 3% of your monthly income. And there's that. So I want to talk about next. Well, and I should know this without looking it up, but we're going to talk about the Green Party. So the Green Party has a real interesting history. So the Green Party, United States, um, the Green Party is a federation of Green Party states. Blah, blah. So unlike GSA, the Green Party is a party, so they're a political party. Um, I don't know who is the chair. I don't know who the chair of the Green Party is, but I'm going to find out here in just a moment. Okay, so the chair of the Green Party is not named. Is not a single chair. Instead, it's governed by seven-member steering committee. Okay, so they aren't governed by one person. They're governed by a 7-member steering committee comprised of co-chairs. So those committees would members include, I'm going to get this wrong, Craig Kayitio, Daryl Mosh, Alfred Mollison, Justin Palingo, Cassandra Limbs, Charles Ostedek, and Joseph Nahum. So those are the 7. And in terms of the Green Party, they promote, of course, green politics. Especially, they have several tenets, right? There's 10 things that every Green Party member, I'm not going to say always believes, but they have 4 pillars and 10 key components. So the 4 components or the 4 pillars include peace, ecology, social justice, and democracy. And then they have 10 values. So their 10 values um, include grassroots democracy, social justice and equal opportunity, ecological wisdom, nonviolence, decentralization, community-based economics, feminism and gender equity, respect for diversity, personal and global responsibility, future focus and sustainability. So far, um, that's kind of like the background. So I'm gonna keep this up here and then I'm gonna go back to the DSA website. So um, DSA. Okay, so again, um, I just read that. So I'm going to first talk about what both groups have in common. So these are the things that, and if anybody out there with DSA, because I know what the Green Party stands for. Like I said, I was part of the Green Party. I know what they stand for. So it's a lot easier for me to talk about who they are and what they do and what they believe in, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to start talking about the things that these two groups have in common. Again, remember, DSA is not a political party. They're just, I would think, like a subset of leftist Democrats. So they still run under the Democratic Party. They still call themselves Democrats, but they're more of the left wing of that party. So um, the number one thing is both groups advocate for Medicare for all. How you get to that, they pretty much, for my readings, have like the same um, demands that single payer healthcare be the way that we manage our healthcare system, that they be free from in the health industry lobby. Um, that's one thing they have in common. Another thing that they have in common is they both, and this is where I kind of cringe because I cringe anytime anybody says this. They both want to reduce the role of big money in politics. And I'm not cringing because that's a bad thing. I don't think money belongs in politics. But what I'm getting at is the whole, and both groups do this. The the framing of it is, oh well, let's get rid of Citizens United. You're not going to get rid of Citizens United. Citizens United can only be overturned by the Supreme Court. And if you look at what the Supreme Court is now, that's not likely to happen. Now, what you could do is, say, hey, some legislator needs to pass a new law. That is one thing that you could actually do. But getting rid of Citizens United, I guess because I'm so tired of hearing it, it's like, okay, we got to stop saying this. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Both groups, um, let me get this right back up here because I made a little chart and you guys can't see it. Um, um, the DSA, well, no, I said um, that's a difference. So, um, I'm trying to get to this. Okay. So again, they both advocate, they both are for labor. They're very pro-labor. Both groups are pro-labor. Both groups again are anti-money in politics. Both groups shy away from capitalism. Um, both groups support ending the occupation in Gaza. Both groups oppose the Iran war. Um, both groups um both groups, like I said, it's hard because DSA isn't a political party, so I'm trying to remember to call them groups because the Green Party again is a party. Um, um, and DSA is just a group of people, but both um I don't know what DSA. Well, let me just start talking about the difference because I said, hey, let me just do it this way. Because I got some smoke for both groups, and I've told people with both groups, hey, you probably aren't going to like anything I say about either group in this. So the differences of course, I keep saying it, the Green Party is an official party. They have bylaws and committees and conventions and nominations and all of those things. Um, Ballot access for Democratic Socialists is a whole lot easier because they don't have to gather petitions, right? Um they don't have to go out and collect signatures to have most of them thrown away because that's just they just automatically, if they make it past their primary, the ballot access for them does not exist. So it's much harder for a Green Party candidate to get on the ballot than it is a DSA. Again, um, that's because Green Party can't seem to get ballot access because of ballot access laws that are completely stupid. Another difference is the DSA has over 100,000 members. I have no clue as to how many members the Green Party has. Like none. I literally don't know. I do know that in terms of running for office, um, again, I said the Democratic DSA has an easier ballot access, but Greens, of course, they only run Green Party candidates. Sometimes individuals will support a DSA candidate, but that candidate can't run. Like if you say, "Oh, I'm DSA," I don't think you can run under the Green Party, but I might have to check that. Um, um, let's see. I'm trying to. come up with some more differences here. The core the ideology is a little bit different. So the Green Party is focused on green eco socialism, while the DSA is, of course, focused on democratic socialism and anti-capitalism. So the DSA highlights anti-capitalism more, although I think the Green Party does speak more against imperialism than they do capitalism. But there's that. Another major difference is um how can I say this and it makes sense for me to say this? A DSA, a candidate that identifies themselves as DSA probably has a better chance of getting elected in this cycle versus a Green Party member. And that's because DSA is making a lot of noise. They're making a lot of noise. They're doing a whole lot. Um, Wait a minute, somebody corrected me. Biggest difference is that the Green Party is okay with, yeah, I said that. Okay, hold on. So thanks, Steve. DSA is membership organization. I did not mention it. They don't get free access to different infra infrastructure though. But if they win the nominate, I guess they could withhold it. You must be a Democrat. That's another thing. So if you say, "Hey, I'm Green Party, but I'm running DSA," you can't do that. Um, the Green Party is, they say they're okay with capitalism, but I guess that's their organizational stance. But every Green Party person I know is not okay with capitalism. DSA is against capitalism, which I lean, of course, because I'm against capitalism. So on that, I would lean more towards the DSA stand than the Green Party stand. But although um, I'm still I'm not quite ready to say they're okay with it. Um, but I get where you're going. Um, Another major difference, like I said, the one difference that I was talking about, uh, um, is this, and this is perception. So, like I said, if the Democratic Socialists was on the ballot in this election cycle against someone in the Green Party, the DSA candidate would have a much easier time. And that's simply because they have the word Democrat at the front of their name. Um, they will always say they're running as a Democrat. They will never say I'm running. They will never say I'm just running as a socialist. They're always going to say Democratic Socialist, and that's every DSA endorsed candidate that I've seen. Now, perhaps maybe there's one out there that's running, um, and they're saying no, I'm a socialist, but I haven't seen it. Every DSA candidate that I know has always said I'm a Democratic Socialist. I'm a Democratic Socialist. Green Party, pretty much the same. They're going to always say, I'm with the Green Party. They have a harder time, one, because they don't have the financial resources. So DSA has 100,000 members. So if each of those members paid $20, no, let's say 10, that's $1 million. Now, of course, um, some people are paying more, some people are paying less. But I want to know, because the point I guess I'm trying to make is, I mean, what is, I gotta get my thoughts together. Cancel that. Okay, so they don't tell what their budget is. It's not like they're saying we raised. Wait a minute, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna type it in like this. How much has the GSA raised? Because I want to make this point about money. Okay, so they have an annual budget of $6.38 million. They recently received a major 5.2 million windfall from an inheritance dispute involving a retirement account, nearly doubling its yearly operating budget. So they have 6.38 million, 6.38 million dollars in their budget. So the Green Party, I want to know how much did the Green Party raise? So the Green Party is a little bit more harder to find. The Green Party in the United States raised how much? I can't find what the Green Party. Wait a minute. Now I'm trying to find out how much the Green Party of Canada raised $507,000, but it doesn't say. Okay, Green Party USA, because I need to know how much did they raise. Okay, so it looks like the Jill Stein campaign, because that's the only thing I can find, is 1.6 million. And so when you look at those two, even um that's not, it sounds like lot of money because hey, who got money just laying around like that? But on either end, that's not a lot of money, right? And the point I'm getting to is DSA has more of it to spend. They are very skilled at community organizing. They are very skilled in recruiting. They are very skilled in working with the media. So since they can do those things better, like I said, if you put a Green Party candidate up against a DSA candidate, same election, same office, the DSA candidate is going to win because they have an established ground game. They have did, I mean, I can't even hate. They've done an excellent job of creating communities and creating those um clusters that can come together. Like I said, they are very, very skilled in that. And that's where the Green Party has a lot of work to do. And I've said this time and time again, somehow within that leadership, they're going to have to develop some type of plan to reach out to those disenfranchised voters, right? Or disenfranchised people. Because, like I said, if you're exactly right, the Green Party does have a serious problem raising money. And it's because it's, here's what I'm going to say about raising money, especially in a third party candidate race. A lot of Green Party candidates tend to operate under the notion, hey, let's put people before profits. And that's a good way to in general think about it, but I don't get why they don't realize that you have to have some sort of, you don't have to accept PAC money. You do not have to accept PAC money. We're not talking about raising what did the RNC raise last year? Hundreds of millions of dollars. Um, we're talking about And keep in mind, 6.38 million, that's not a lot either. But again, DSA, they have more resources to tap into. They have media resources. Um, it says here now, I'm just reading a little bit down here. Um, let's see. Um, yeah, so this is just, it says here in another one that they raised 3.5. So I wonder which one of these articles is right. But anyway, let's do some comparison here. So now, um, I want to see. So the RNC has raised $19.4 million in a single month, and the non-socialist section of the DNC, or what I call the regular DNC, has raised 17.9 million in a month. So now Green Party candidates, let's just give them the 3.6. 3.6. And remember that Democrat, I'm only talking about 1 month, right? I'm only talking about 1 month versus an annual budget. And this is where this plays into effect because if you can't buy ads, you can't do advertising, how are people going to know that you're running? Um, how are you going to pay for people to put gas in their cars or feed them or do phone banks? All of those things cost money. And you don't have to like me saying it, but I think if I'm going to give the nod, I would have to go with the DSA on this one. They have the resources. No, they have both of them have under 10 million, but again, because the DSA can tap into um that resource, they have that email list or that contributors list. I'm assuming they would give it to them. I don't really know because I'm so far removed from democratic politics, it doesn't make sense. Another thing that I think that DSA does a little bit better, and I said that they definitely know how to do community organizing and they definitely know how to recruit volunteers. But another thing that I think that they do better is they don't use a lot of word salad. And I'm coming to this awareness that sometimes I was talking in word salad. I think especially in this election cycle, people want to hear what is it that you're going to do. We know it's bad. We know we need health care. Are you for Medicare for all? Are you for expanding Obamacare? What is it that you're for? What is your plan? How are you going to, not necessarily how you're going to get there, because that's a detail, that's more of a detailed plan. But in general, what's your platform? They are far better at communicating to the public what their platform is because as Democrats, the media is going to interview them over a Green Party candidate. Now, you put a DSA member up against an established Democrat, then unfortunately, I had to put the the I would have to lean more towards the establishment Democrat having the the uh, the benefits, right? They would get more of the list and the donors and the volunteers. They would just have that because they're supported, right? Doesn't mean I want the established Democrat, but it is what it is. Um, Another thing that I think that the DSA does better is I like the way that they emphasize local. Every DSA member I've talked to has always talked about their local. They've always talked about their local DSA, their local DSA. They rarely talk about the national. They rarely sit down and say, oh, well, national said this. It's, and I know the Green Party is like this also, but I'm saying that in this sense, I think that uh, DSA does it a little bit better in that sense. I also think that DSA is, how can I say this and not hurt anybody's feelings? I, how can I say this again and not hurt? DSA is more open towards Christians than the Green Party is. And to me, that's just a fact. The Green Party, to me, is like this highly, highly secular group. And that's okay because we have separation of church and state. Um, but quoting a Bible verse here and there, it doesn't do it for me. Um, I need to know why as a Christian, why is it that I'm voting for you, right? What is it that you're going to do? What type of things are you going to take? What type of tenets are you going to carry into your daily work as a legislator? So the Green Party just does not do a good job at this. Um, it's probably one of the main reasons I don't engage with the party like I used to because it's very frustrating to have that. But DSA does a far better job. Again, I'm not expecting altar halls. That's not what I'm expecting. I think what I'm wanting is a respectability because I think they definitely respect other religions way more, just way more. I feel like DSA does a better job at that. Um, DSA is also at more protest. Well, no, that's the advantage I'm going to give to the Green Party. So that's what I think that DSA does that's better. Some things that I think they can improve on. Definitely, I know that they are for reparations for the descendants of African slaves. I know they are, but you're going to have to do a whole lot better in reaching the Black community than what you are now. Because when I think, and this is something the groups actually do have in common, both groups can do this better. When I think Green Party, when I think DSA, I think a bunch of white people. That's just what I think. Now, I'm not saying that either group is racist. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, oh, when I think of either one of these groups, they both have a problem with centering African American issues. And until that goes away, it's going to be more difficult because you go need Black voters, period. You just are. And so there has to be a concerted effort for both groups to do a better job at centering Black issues, the economy, um, reparations, um, strengthening voters, restoring the Voters' Rights Act, um, no more redistricting, something that's going to make us say, oh, okay. Because again, when I think of both parties, I think of white people. And you can take that however it is you want to take it. Another thing that I think that the DSA, and I don't know how I ended up talking about both parties when I was only talking about DSA, but since they both have that in common, um, um, I just did it that way. So what I think the DSA could do better, and this is something personal, like have a contact section. Like I'm looking on their website and I don't know, like, if I had questions about the DSA, let's just say DSA Indianapolis, because I'm in Indianapolis. So I'm going to just look this up, just to make my point here. Because I'm like, well, who the heck do you cop? Okay, DSA Indianapolis. Okay, so apparently they got a website called Central Indiana Democrat Socialists of America. So I'm going to go to that website. They have, of course, join our mailing list. Um, but how do you get in contact with somebody? That I'm like, there's no contact button. There's no, hey, here's my question. Do it like this. There's nothing on this page that tells me um that how to get in contact with anybody. Um, they do have the chapter information. I guess that's good. Um, but like if you have a question, how are you going to contact somebody? Like who is it? There's no I know there's a Facebook group because I'm a part of the Facebook group. So I definitely think that they could do that better. In terms of the Green Party, what I really like about the Green Party, their 10 key values. That's what drew me to the Green Party. Well, it was actually Ralph Nader. But what drew me once I read the 10 key values and the four pillars, they all made sense to me, right? So I think that's really good. Um, I think another thing that the Green Party does well is they are always at a protest. If it's about Gaza, um, ending wars, um, they are there. ICE, they are very active in getting organized around that effort. And this is that'll be a bad thing coming up here in just a moment. Um, I think another thing that that Green Party members do is they don't, I'm not going to say emphasize youth because they will always say, the youth is the future, but they don't disregard our more seasoned population, which I kind of think DSA does a little bit because they always are emphasizing youth, but I'm like, well, most people aren't. Yeah, I guess I get where they're going. They're not afraid, the Green Party isn't afraid to let um, younger people take on leadership roles. I think that's good. Um, because there are so few Green Party members, it's harder for them to organize, like just to start up a Green Party. I mean, when you're trying to start up a party, whatever that party is, it's trust me, it's a very difficult thing to do is to get people to start a political party or a political group. Um, but it can be. So because there's few of them, they have to be more creative in the process of recruitment, educational outreach, um, those type of things. Now, I will say this though, I will say this when you go to, and I'm just going to go to the Indiana Green Party website because I want to make a difference. I want to make a point here. So, Indiana Green Party. So, this one, I think you can actually contact somebody and you hit their volunteer with Indiana Green Party and you fill in the information and you tell them what you want to do and you put your comments and I'm 99% certain somebody's going to get back with you. I just wish they had it as a contact us button, but okay, but at least I know, oh, okay, I want to know more. So there it is there. Um, they have a more, well, ecological, well, that makes sense, Green Party's in their names. But that's it. And so um another thing that I think Green Party do well is they actually, how can I say this? Because I don't see this with DSA. So I think within the Green Party, the groups work together better. So in other words, the Indiana Green Party, a lot of times they will work with the Illinois Green Party, and the Illinois Green Party will work with the Wisconsin. Like they'll, especially when they were gathering petitions for the presidential campaign, they were really good about coordinating their resources to get signatures in necessary places. That's really helpful that they know how to work together. Not sure about DSA because again, they don't have to collect signatures because they don't have those ballot access issues. But I do think that the Green Party does that very well. Um, some things that I think that the Green Party can work on. Number one, where the black people at? Just where? Just where? What's the plan to get black people? My same criticism for DSA also belongs to the Green Party. And I already said this, both groups need to do this better. The not centering black issues, I think, is a serious misstep. And I say that because the issues that blacks face, everybody faces. And centering doesn't mean, oh, well, just ignore everybody else. That's not what I mean when I say censor. But there, where, what's the plan? I would like to see, I guess, out of both groups, a more detailed plan about, oh, this is what we're going to do to reach out to Black voters, Indigenous voters, Hispanic voters. This is what our plan is, right? This is what we're going to do. We're going to do something in February. This week in February, we're because that's Black History Month. We're going to do this the first weekend, this the second weekend, this the third week. Um, I would like to also see more work outside the election cycle. And I know that's the hard one because when there's not an election, it's hard. Like once when you're running an election, it's easier to keep people engaged and excited because you know you got this goal of getting elected to office. But I would like to see the group get more involved in like community aid and reaching out and kind of like providing, you know, links to mutual aid. I'm 99% certain that you could put mutual aid links on your site and say, hey, these are resources. Um, that would be good. Um, and don't rely on social media as so much. Oh my gosh, stop that. Stop that. Stop that. You're going to have to do something that I'm going to recommend next is you're going to have to hold some fundraisers. I'm not saying charge 20, I'm saying maximum $15. Um, and start really, really pushing because again, elections aren't free and DSA seems to me to have a easier time of like they don't hesitate. Like there's no hesitation in their voice in asking for money and ask for a specific amount. And I don't see why the Green Party can't do that. And I think that's a lot of the older, I'm not with the Green Party, with the more seasoned members of the Green Party, they're always like, well, don't put profit over people. Well, guess what? When you get that yard sign made, they could care less about people. All they want is their money when they want it. So I would think the Green Party needs to become better at fundraising in both in person and virtual, and just start maybe one every quarter or maybe one every month or something to kind of get people in that mindset. Because let's see what's coming up. We have Marshall's race. We have well, he's not a green candidate per se. Marshall is running in Indiana for state house, and so is Ben Davis. He's running also. So, but I know they both have donation buttons on there. The newsletter is really good for Indiana. I really like it. Um, yeah, DSA, that's what I forgot. Do y'all even got a newsletter? Because I've never gotten it, but I don't think I've ever signed up for your mailing list either. So maybe I should do that. But I know the Green Party has one because I'm on their email list. I don't think I've ever seen them ask for money on their. Let me look on their newsletter link. Uh, I'm trying to see because they're no, I don't see it. But I know they have a newsletter, and I know in that newsletter they ask for donations, but you're going to be a little bit more forceful in it. I think that's the thing that's missing. Um, Another thing that I think that the Green Party could do better, and this is certainly is not their fault because our mainstream media is so terrible. So somebody with the Green Party, and I'm just again going to use Indiana as the example. I live in Indiana, so this could work for any state. You're going to have to assemble a list of independent media um, and independent people that are on TikTok and Snapchat and all those things because you're not going to get an interview with the mainstream media. It's just not going to happen. So you're going to have to figure out how do you get media attention when the media isn't paying attention to you, if that makes any sense. Um, but I think those are kind of some of the things that they could do better. Um, I do want to talk about, is there room to work together? Because I'm wondering, with so many things in common, so many things that each group has in common, even though one's a political party and the other one is just kind of like a group of leftists, is there room for the two groups to collaborate and work together and work to get some third party candidates elected to office on the local level? Because we know when it comes to federal races, DSA is going to endorse the Democrat. There's just that's what they're going to do. They're always going to do it. Does that kind of discussion need to take place, right? Does it is there any shape, form, or fashion that the two groups could actually work together? I would say yes, but not necessarily elections, maybe mutual aid, maybe protesting, maybe assembling a general strike, those type of things the two groups could definitely work on. But I definitely think both groups have so much in common. Would it make sense on some issues to combine against the Democratic establishment? Because both groups are definitely against the Democratic establishment. Definitely, 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 definitely. There's no doubt about that. They definitely are. So I wondered that, and I just do because I think, well, there are some good areas that they could definitely work together on. Not again, not necessarily elections, because I think at the end of the day, DSA is going to support fill in the blank Democrat. I also wonder, I don't know how I'm going to phrase this because I've seen a lot of in the green spaces, a lot of, I don't want to say hostility. That's not the word I'm looking for, but there's like major side eye that the Green Party seems to be giving DSA. And I'm wondering, is the Green Party more concerned about the policy, or are they the ones that want to do the policy? Those are just kind of questions that are rearing in my mind. Because for me personally, hey, if Trump wants to sign a bill, a reparations bill for the descendants of African slaves, giving us a check, good. I don't care, good. The policy got done. But as I'm seeing it more and more, I'm like, okay, Green Party, it is y'all just, and I'm not saying all Green Party. I'm just saying the ones that I've seen. I'm like, well, are you're giving major side eye for small missteps. They're missteps. Do not get me wrong. They're missteps. But again, those commonalities are so great. I wonder instead of looking at it at the lens that you're looking at, because nobody's going to line up 100% with every issue. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. Don't look for it to happen. It's not going to just deal with it, right? Of course, the major issues, yes, you want to look for um, um, collaboration, conformity, etc. But things like, oh, I'd be um, willing to hear a $25 minimum wage over a 27, really $2? You gonna strip over $2? We can argue about $2 later. So it's just something I want people in the Green Party to kind of answer that for me because I the thought, if I'm being honest, has literally crossed my mind several times. Well, guys, I have to get on another podcast here at 8:15. So I'm gonna just wrap this up. We will have a Sunday show tomorrow. We've got a big week. We've got Carmelo Anthony news. We've got I'm gonna be talking about Gary, Indiana not having power for 10 days, flooding that's in Indiana. Um, I'm going to be talking about the way that I think that the Democrats could actually win the Senate. Also, I think there's a plan. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they want to, but there is a means by which they could do that. And I'm probably going to discuss that tomorrow. But remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm actually going to take myself down because now I can play my commercials and we'll see those. And I'll see you tomorrow on the Sunday show at 7 o'clock. Bye bye.
Hey everyone, if you enjoy our content, consider supporting us on Patreon at Tracy Media Fans for exclusive perks and to help us keep creating.